Hello 8th graders. In this IXL support video we're taking a look at F.8, which is called multiplication with exponents. And before we jump into this first problem, there is a basic rule about multiplying with exponents that we kind of need to know for F.8. And I have an example here that says x cubed times x squared, the same base terms multiplied with exponents, would equal x to what power? And I'm going to write this out a little bit. X cubed means 3 copies of x multiplied together. So I'm going to say x times x times x. And x squared means 2 more copies of x multiplied. So I'm going to switch over to that red color and say 2 more of those x's. And all of these are being multiplied together. So how many x's do we have in total here? I see there are 5 x's multiplied together in total. So I'm going to say this equals x to the 5th. And we realize an important shortcut here. I could have kept the base the same and simply added the exponents. This says 3 copies of x times 2 more copies of x, and that's just going to say 5 copies of x multiplied together. So from that, we came up with an important rule as a class. We recognize the multiplication with exponent rule. Let me go ahead and clean this up a bit. And the multiplication with exponent rule tells us whenever we multiply 2 exponent terms that have the same base, all we need to do is add the exponents together. That's what this purple note says. So I'm going to use that idea. If I have base 953, I don't know why they picked such a big number, but if I have 8 copies times 7 more copies, I know 8 plus 7 is going to give me a total of 15 copies. So this really must just be a total of 15 copies of 953 multiplied together. So that's really all we're looking for an answer, 953 raised to the 15th. And again, they should not be using huge numbers right away, but that's IXL for you. So I'll put that base number in, 953. I could click this button here or hit Shift 6, and that lets me put the exponent of 15 in there. And this entire assignment for F8 just builds off the property that x to the power of a times x to the power of b just means add the exponents together. And in this case, all I would need to do is add the 8 and the 8 together, because I know there are 8 copies of 516 times 8 more copies, or there's a total of 16 copies of 516 multiplied together. I'm going to have you pause my video at this point, and we think you should be very good at this point to answer other questions in the beginning for F8 on your own. So as you're coming back from pausing the video, hopefully most of you recognized here there was the same base multiplied together. All we need to do is add the 9 copies with 6 more copies, and we get a total of 15 copies. Or we could get an answer of 363 raised to the 15th power. I'm going to skip ahead. We believe you are perfect at this point and you are ready to do F8 on your own. I'm going to skip ahead to some of the more challenging ones to see how they make it more difficult. It looks like in the beginning you could do this one on your own if you're still with me. All they're going to have you do in the 50s, it looks like, is just deal with bigger exponents, but still the same base, still adding 5 plus 29. So hopefully at home you're saying, Mr. Doherty, this would just be 615 to the power of 34. I'm going to skip ahead to the next level to see if it gets more challenging in the 80s. And you see the one thing they do to make it more difficult is they put more than 2 base terms. They're all the same base. They're all using 758, so I'm just going to add right across the line. I have 1 copy times 1 more, that's 2 of them. 57 more, 57 plus 2 would give me a total of 59. So add those 3 up in any order you want, but we have 59 total copies of the base 758. This is the challenge zone, I guess. Doesn't look like I can jump another level, so I guess the only way they make it more challenging is make you add 3 exponent terms, or add the exponents for 3 terms that have the same base. But that's not too challenging either. I think you all have 838 to the power 105 at this point. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. Thank you for doing strong on F8, which, as you see, kind of gets a little straightforward once you understand the multiplication property.